Hi, everyone, and welcome to the final day of Monetization Week. Thanks, everyone, for persisting and joining. As we have the attendees come through, I'll just go through again sort of the background of the subject of the session today and everything else. So, in essence, we wanted to put Monetization Week together because towards the end of last year, beginning of this year, still seeing it happening until this point of time. There's a bit of a lag that's going on. Publishers are having a bit of challenges with recovery from the drop in revenue, whether it's due to macro trends, whether it's because of the events like the Olympics that is resulting in brands and advertisers to make more delayed decisions on spending and so forth. We have all these things have resulted in a drop. So we said, is there an event there that's really addressing the strategies and playbooks to share the insights with publishers? We saw the opportunity to do this particularly for our European publishers. So thanks again for everyone who's taken part, our sponsor, Giozo, our media partners, FIPP, Czech Publishers Association, and the European Business Review. And so I'm taking on this final day today, as I mentioned. We're going to be covering first-party data strategies. It's going to be as interactive as I can make it. So there will be aspects of it, particularly going live, going through websites and steps of. We're going to cover about 7 key strategies. But also before that, I want you to just also to partake on this session, the approach on how to incorporate this. If you haven't come to the stage of not even doing any of these things yet. I mean, most of you have a simple newsletter registration is a first-party data strategy, but the framework to help you to get towards that is going to be important to cover. So with that, I guess, quick housekeeping as well. Please feel free to raise your hand, questions. We're going to be jumping through quite a number of examples, so don't hesitate to raise the hand. I'll have a look and just make sure that we can answer anything on the spot. Comment if you have any questions, and depending on the attendees as well, amount of attendees, we can also do the poll. So without a further ado, I'll go through and let's get started. I'll share my screen. Perfect. So what you need to consider when you're developing sustainable first-party strategies is defining the approach and how you're going to build the foundation of your first-party data. So it's the same thing, like you need to build the house. So what you need to do is consider the key data collection points that you want to key data collection points that's going to help you to strengthen your first-party data collection. That's behavioral data. It's campaign data whether you're driving CPC campaigns, whether you're helping drive native advertising performance, CRM data, a lot of that which you're using to help profile your audience. Consolidate that into the customer data platform, and then you then think about what are the different avenues of engaging and engaging your audience or further monetizing the audience. These are the 3 primary ways: email automation, audience growth and monetization, and content personalization circulation. So basically, to summarize this part, it's more about, again, if you have an email if you have an email collection method to be able to help be regularly in touch with your audience, the different channels, whether it's social, whether it's search, whether it's video, all these things, the data that you can use to then inform the campaign of those. And then content personalization and circularization is more about the engagement and how to improve as someone goes onto the website, how to better provide them the information they're looking for to get them to create habit loops that come back again and again, which can then reinforcement behavior data to then provide that as a product to your potential advertisers as you mature your data offering. So those are like the three core pillars of eventually being able to execute once you've collected the first party data. Again, I showed this slide in the first day. You can make it as to get started on the collection part. I mean, again, newsletters is the key thing you can start off with to collect behavioral data. You can start off with something as freemium as Clearbit. So with SODP, we're a B2B publication as well. So I need to be able to articulate to potential brand partners. We have a brand partnership model, a sponsorship model essentially, and I need to be able to tell them, hey, we've got this many companies that are visiting the website per month. This is where they're visiting it. This is the type of content they're interested in. We see you as a gap to be able to fuel that requirement. Please, would you like to partner with us? These are some of the ways we can do that. So the screen that you're showing here is you're seeing here is all the companies, and I can go through with Clearbit, create filters, i.e., be able to see the reports by industry, by location, and I get a weekly email on this. You can change, as you can see, I've filtered it based on media. So quite a number of these are, and sorry, and I can use this to show it on the flip side as well. Sorry, I can also, yeah. So you're seeing here, I've filtered by media. Apologies, and some of the publishers that I can essentially say to potential advertisers, hey, the Gazette's going there, and I can do that without actually showing them the user information. Like we're not there to share the user information to our partners there. It's just more of the companies as a profile. But ultimately, what you want to do is eventually evolve that to be able to CDP, have a CDP to collect all the data. You can even take it one step further. So Yukta Media is an ERP. It's basically a CDP plus more of handling billing, and a lot of other admin and operational aspects of a publishing business. So why that's useful is because you're combining MarTech and AdTech data together. So for example, if you've got all these different solutions that you're using to collect behavioral data, CRM, and all that, then you need to be able to find a way to automatically integrate them, speak to the platforms, then they speak back, and then from there you can then produce reports and insights that are centralized and unified. So that's the advanced steps you can take, and that's where you want to go to the maturity model to be able to say to your advertiser, your sponsor, if they tell you, can we target this person at this age who does X, Y, Z, then you have the answer because you've collected all this data in a progressive way. Okay, let's move on to the theoretical stuff. This is the final point of the theoretical stuff, and then we're gonna jump into the examples. So even if this is at the moment a bit too much to digest, the key thing that you need to think about is with first party data, collect strategies and collection. It's all about reader engagement. If this image is from the NCI Shift program that we co-ran with Google last year, with publishers that were looking to get started on their digital transformation journey and also, better improve their audience and reader engagement. The principle is simple. You've got content, you've got readers. If you improve the frequency and of the visits and the depth in which they're reading the content, then you're increasing the chances of increasing your reader revenue, which could be subscriptions, which could be donations, other methods that you want to consider, or advertising revenue. And so ultimately, you need to your content is the core of everything. It's the foundation of everything, and that's what's going to drive your business to move forward. Yes, I know that a lot of the conversations throughout the week maybe was deflated a little bit in terms of what's going on with search. I totally understand that, but there's definitely been pockets of resistance in B2B media, in publishers that are actually doing brand building that have actually stayed the same or improving because of the drop in other publishing as well. So stay true to that, and I'm sure that you persist through this. Um, I'll just quickly jump on the question. Yep, well, Q&A, that's next item. Uh, so yeah, if you figure out this part, you've got the model and the habit loop to be able to do this, then it'll make it much more easier for you to even articulate that on a fundamental level to your potential advertisers, and then you can think about working with your engineering team to build this tech stack. Okay, so we're going to go through these strategies. I'm going to go through specific examples of ones that are useful to look at if you haven't already done this. We've got one, two, three, four, five, yeah, six, seven, eight there. So okay, user registration newsletter. That's a straightforward one to get started with. Okay, so we've got as part of the NCI program as well. We'll share this link with you. They've got a lot of the best practices that you can look at when setting up your website to be able to increase content depth and user frequency. One of the things that they had, like things, read more, whether you can hover over things, and other best practices as well about subscribing boxes as well. So um, essentially, yeah, what we want to do. Sorry, I lost the page there. What we want to do here is look at this is one of the things I wanted to show you. It's in terms of the best practices when you're considering about user registration, particularly from the um, audience subscription side. Now, there's a really clear example of providing users clear options of what they will be expecting when you sign up to a digital print and or digital offering, and they give you a clear box in terms of what the reader's choice is. So you're hovering people over to, and again, strategically, the pricing as well is much more cost effective because it's going to allow them to try it to then be able to upsell over time. So being mindful of making sure that if you know which users are going to, if you know which for your users, which product is the highly likely product that's going to convert, position that in the middle with a clear label, and then put the other ones on the side so that comparably it's going to be the one that's going to be attractive to for people to convert. Landing page newsletters for so signing up for landing pages is really important as well. I found the South China Morning Post, you know, I think this is one of the first ones that is pretty innovative in their approach in terms of letting people know what they're going to expect when they're going to sign up for the newsletter. So this is a registration page. They've got, sorry, who knows how much segmented newsletters. They've got over 1,000, which is extraordinary in my opinion. But when I click on each one of them, they give you a preview of what you're going to expect, which is pretty cool. And yeah, so for example, for this one, the breaking news alerts, you can click on a breaking news article, it will take you to that page. If you want to see, yeah, exactly the section, how the newsletters are being curated, you can also see that as well here, right? Which I think is really powerful because a lot of times you see people pretty much jumping in the newsletter because they might read the landing page and then they jump off. So they unsubscribe after two or three newsletters because maybe it didn't match their expectation. So maybe you might not be able to grow at a faster. I mean, you might be able to grow at a faster rate because of this, because you're segmenting so much of your newsletter, which is another strategy as well for first party data segmentation, because you know exactly which demographic, which audience is interested in what topic, and that's why we also, sorry, frankly speaking as well, that's why we also broke down the the monetization week to 5 days, 1 hour per day, because we want to be able to cater not only to people that want to join for specific topics, but it also gives a startup for next time. Okay, we've got more people joining on this day. Maybe if we're going to do the monetization event week next time, we might need to take out this subject. We might need to incorporate this one, and so forth. So it's a really powerful tool, segmentation, to be able to do that. And one more aspect of newsletter signups I wanted to show you an example of, which is more of a classic example of newsletter signups, is a publisher called Milk Road. Let me just see if I can get them up again. Yeah, it's a newsletter publisher. Now for them, so let me just see if there's a comment there. Yep. I'll just quickly address this comment. Is this the last meeting? Yep. Okay. It's been removed. Sorry guys. Milk Road is the next, the other one that I just want to show you in terms of the sign up process. They've got here pretty much the number of subscribers directly on the homepage. There's publishers that make it very prominent. There's ones that don't, but they've gone directly to the point because that's their core offer, is a newsletter. Which also is probably because they're a newsletter publisher, but there might be publishers that are in the beginning of the journey. So you want to be able to demonstrate that and who's signing up, so that you can get the trust of the audience early in the stage of your offering. They've got tweets. As you go down, if you haven't interacted, they're going to prompt you like 2 to 3 times to pretty much sign up. So there's even other subscription. There's other publishers where they had up to 3 call to actions throughout the homepage by itself. Don't be afraid to be forward in terms of asking them to sign up. Make sure that you have that at the bottom as well, like this, and you can definitely increase the likelihood of signing up, especially if you're showing the content, the best content forward for your publication. So yeah, that's some of the strategies around users registration and newsletters. Now, I'm going to jump back to South Morning China Post, because we're going to be bundling together the approach they're taking in terms of single sign-on, progressive profiling. So I'm not sure if you've seen, there's increasingly sites that have gone through and to reduce the friction of actually signing up to a newsletter or to a subscription, you can actually have the option to sign up using Google, basically other profiles that you already have on the website. So there's one of what I'm going to go to. Sorry. There you go. So one of the things that they do here is sign in with Google. That's called the SSO. The SSO is going to allow us to pretty much in a GDPR friendly way, we'll be able to grab the data and pass the data through to us to be able to reduce that friction that I mentioned, instead of having forms and the pop-ups and so forth showing up. They also are providing the free 1 month offer. So we're going to go through and actually walk through the steps of doing that. I want to show you that because it talks towards the progressive profiling. So I'm not sure if you've seen on there's some sites there where, when you sign up to a newsletter or when you sign up to a subscription offering, it's going to show you things like, it's going to help you go through the onboarding process. So they're going to start asking you to fill out your profile, your name, your address, stuff like that, your interests. See, as we're going through here, it's been activated. So we want to start exploring. It's giving us things that we would like to sign up on. So sign up now. news preferences. That's really important. Again, we're helping people to get to know publication, right? So, and then it takes you to the offer to then sign up to continue on. So essentially, this is an example of progressive profiling. And that way you can actually collect that data instead of, I mean, one way is the newsletter, as I mentioned, but this can be a much less friction point for you to do that. The next example is in order to collect first-party data, it's also about understanding, collecting interactions on the website. GA4 talk about it from an events point of view. So pretty much any interaction that's happening on the website, you want to be able to track. Key examples around that can be content sharing, by default GA4 now, and maybe the analytics solutions that you're looking into, such as Chartbeat or some heat mapping tools like Clarity, which is for free, by the way, so you don't have to necessarily spend thousands of dollars per year on more of the heat mapping tools that are available. Yeah, so the heat mapping tools that are available, you can basically set them up. You can then pass the data through to Google Analytics GA4, and then you can be able to determine, okay, on average, there's X percentage of users that are going 50% of the page, 70% of the page. We've got X number of people that are using comments for commenting, and maybe they're commenting the people, and then you can then use that to segment and profile those users. So, for example, X% of people that are commenting are typically having more brand loyalty than non-commenters, for example, which is probably something that I said, which is obvious. But again, you want to be able to collect all these interactions, because after that, you can then set up conversion goals to then help support the increasing ad revenue or subscription revenue that you're trying to drive for the site. I won't go too technical for this one at the moment. Happy to share some happy to share resources for anyone that's interested on that separately, because there's things that already there's guides that you can use. There's, if you're on WordPress particularly, there's plugins like Monster Insights that can do a lot of this automatically for you, or for more technical development support and guides. We can have a separate chat on that, so that's no problem as well. That one I would say, like, irrespective as well, as you're going through and as you're going through and starting this journey on the first party strategies, besides the newsletter, the second one would be to get this sorted out so that you can make it much more easier to fill in the gaps for the other ones. Click attribution and affiliate. So if your site is primarily on the content is mostly driven by affiliate revenue, you're more than likely working with an affiliate network who are providing you with a UTM tracking mechanism, linking tracking mechanism that's going to drive you, allow you to attribute whether or not you've helped drive a sale to get the commission, and that's going to help you look at driving revenue. So, I mean, we've had one of our lovely panelists, Gabriella, not yesterday, but the day before, that came on and spoke about sort of their journey on affiliate revenue. So you can see, we can go to the review section here. Choose any one of the products. Yeah, just want to say super thanks. Thank you, SP. If there's any particular question, SP, please let me know. But yeah, you can see as you go through, they've got the link to eBay, there, you can see on the left-hand corner, bottom left-hand corner, it says redirect.vigilink.com. It's got the key ID. Um, and they're very smart because I'm based in Australia. They're showing me the Australian price as well. So that aspect of personalization that I was talking about, that because of the data that's coming through in terms of the behavior tracking, um, it's probably they're looking at the ISP IP detection and then they're tracking that. I'm seeing the Australian price, so they don't have to go through and um, have a switcher here to then change people to look at different countries. I'm confident that I know what the price is going to be, and I can just pretty much straight away go ahead and if I'm happy with the product and the content and offer that I have, I can click buy. They'll get the sale and happy days for everyone. Um, so that's really how you can go through the next level and personalize. Obviously, the tracking of that is important. Gabriella mentioned as well, not to rehash what she was saying. Very hard to get track this collectively, because there's a lot of different partners, particularly for affiliate tracking. So we can track. I'll show you the solution. We have used that sporadically across many uh, campaigns, but what's also and it does actually. If you look at the integrations, it's got a lot of integrations with many affiliate networks as well. Um, but I want to also show you the demo quickly because it, I think this one is close to being one of the most unifying platforms of all the data sources. It's great that it's got the pop-up and I can't see it. Okay, great. Just give it a quick 10 seconds, and if it's not loading quick enough, then I'll pass over. We'll pass over the link for you to review. Okay, great. So literally, they've set up dashboards where you can have the unified sales data here. Choose the advertiser, so all the different advertisers and accounts and so forth, and you can see a unified platform. So again, sorry. By the way, just as a disclosure, any solutions and tools I'm showing you here, there's no endorsement, there's no like arrangement for me to show the products here. I'm just trying to through these solutions show you the examples of how to give you guys inspiration to emulate some of these strategies, right? So again, the sponsors that we have is the ones that we've disclosed earlier in the call. But yeah, it seems like they have quite an extensive amount of integration. So it might be worthwhile trying, basically. Make sure you mention to them that we've recommended them. But anyways, sorry, that's a bad joke. Cool. So the next one, sorry, couponing as well. Like I would say, just on the point of couponing, uh, I mentioned it here because it was something that many of the bigger publishers have used, but other advise at the moment, and that was they started using that because as a lot of the publishers started to go into e-commerce, it was an easy way for them to capture first party data, that first party data, because those data solution providers that would just pretty much give them the content, and then everyone, like there was a report I think from detail.com where it said that 75% of the publishers were pretty much using three data sources across the board. So a lot of them were using similar content, and we've seen a lot of them tank. So I would only suggest you guys using couponing from the perspective of if you want to generate more brand search on particular events that you have and so forth, that you can use it on that aspect, but not necessarily create a coupon section where you're just publishing random coupons that might not be related to your business, because that's called site reputation abuse. You're pretty much leveraging your site to sort of game the search results. So I'd definitely advise away from that. But maybe use branding, couponing as a branding tool for any events, products that you're selling. and then you can distribute that across many sites, and people can then come back to your site and trial that to um, adopt your products and things that you're working on. Cool. Moving forward, the next one is polls and surveys and reviews. This one has been a real big driver this year particularly because of AI and how it makes it easier. Surprisingly as well, we've seen LinkedIn get into this game as well. That they're offering um, gaming as well. So um, I'll show you what I mean by what they're doing. Uh, Again, please don't take this as an endorsement. But what was, for example, even LinkedIn was doing like news clues is a product that many publishers are, sorry, many platforms are trialing out because you're simply interacting with the AI interface of what they're providing, and then there's that feedback loop there, so that sort of increases the engagement on the website, and you can then eventually, once the game is finished, you can uh, finish by leaving your email because they'll typically say, "We'll launch the game tomorrow, a new game tomorrow. You can play one per day, and you can launch tomorrow." And so that really is a self-serving model that literally doesn't require any manpower to manage this. It's just doing it by itself. Um, the one that, sorry, this is a little bit harder for me to replicate these days now because it's for some reason I can't see it. But um, publishers have also, what happened was, let's say there was a big explainer or big story that was there. Um, Now, if someone, typically what happens with explainer news stories is people want to do the behind the scenes research about maybe the person, the family, they want to just understand it because maybe they haven't caught up on that individual if they've been in the news for if they haven't been in the news for quite some time, or um, simply it's a new person and they want to find out about them. Now, a strategy that you can employ with implementing quizzes is, particularly for evergreen content, is you can incorporate and embed quizzes within the content and create the engagement from that content, so you can get an ID, i.e., as well the event, the interaction, whether or not that content is useful or not. And then you can then incorporate related articles or links so that you can direct people to supporting content, which can then increase the visitor frequency and content depth. So from a pure organic perspective, that's also useful to create the poll and quiz. What I found as well, which is pretty interesting, um, is you can also use it as a way to qualify the validity of your programmatic ads. So this is a test site that I'm working on at the moment, and the solution provider, which I can disclose, it's Quizly.ai. They've got the ads here, right? It's based on user interaction and behavior, but they then have they using the solution, they'll scan the content of the page. They'll have a quiz created reflecting what the content's about, and then the ad next to it is actually, I mean, it's not as relevant to be honest, but it's sometimes it is decent. But let's say, for example, if I'm not interacting on this quiz because of the ad next to it, then they're going to work harder to actually improve the relevancy of the ad. To not maybe not filter my user interactions, because I've obviously reviewed maybe other client sites and publishing sites. We review dozens and dozens of them. So yeah, that but example, if this is your core audience and they're just looking at educational content, it might be more relevant. But yeah, I hope you get my point. So again, this is a good way to like really for ad tech companies to determine supply and to improve that, and you to provide that feedback to them as well. especially since publishers still are relying on a lot of um, programmatic ads for ad revenue as well. Yeah, so that's essentially one. That's another point. I definitely think that out of all these areas, this is the biggest growing area. So definitely as well, particularly with clues, games, and so forth. You can. There's also like the internal site search that you have as well. I haven't mentioned it here, but in terms of AI as well, if you're thinking about inspirational ideas, now there's many solutions out there now that are replacing the current site search that maybe a WordPress would have with an AI, sorry, generative AI interface where you can just put the chat of the question, and then it will look at the articles that you have and provide answers to questions. We did one teardown recently, yeah, recently, not recently, like a couple months ago. Um, like Macworld, what they do is it's not you. Smart answers from Macworld. So I can just say, when is iOS 18 coming out? Sorry, still loading. Yep, it's helping you create the answer. It's for some of them it can be just the chat interface as well, providing recommendations on products as well. But yeah, you'll see what he. Um, it's linking to the sources of the articles on the website. Um, if you've got affiliate products, it's also showing that. It's showing you related questions that you can then click on to, how we've seen the AI overview and Bing's one as well try to help you do more deeper questions and suggestions. It's pretty much emulating that. So you can actually emulate that for yourself. Um, so I'll just finish up on this. Yeah, so you can pretty much do that for yourself. So that again, that increases the page frequency, content depth, and then potentially increase the likelihood of showing more relevant ads. It's going to increase your ad revenue as well. So that interaction can be pretty useful. Um, so yeah, moving forward as well, the next one is on PPIDs. It's not necessarily an example of sorry, let me just see if I can show you the data information on this. So again, not advocating for the solution provider, but they've got a good image here. So at the moment, if you are using GAM 360, Google Ad Manager, it's it uses third-party cookies to pass IDs to then track users to then be able to determine the demand of various uh, ads and so forth, supply as well. So um, what is this is essentially saying? PPID is now creating a unique tracker, sorry, to combat third-party depreciation. That's now incorporating a lot of the sorry, it's going to help you to track pass through the user ID through our ID, so user performance information using an ID, and as a result, you can able to profile the data without actually getting the information, and you can be GDPR compliant. So the main tip, anyways, for this is if you're predominantly using GAM 360, make sure that a PPID is enabled on your platform or on your setup, so that you can actually be compliant for the third party cookie depreciation, and also be able to port over your new reporting towards that as well. So many of the you should also ask that to your ad network or your programmatic ad technology company that you're working with to make sure that all the partners that you're working with have that set up so that you can have the user ID tracking pass through to continue to get the data that you need to maintain your pricing as well, your floor pricing basically. So that's that in a nutshell. And then the final one is it's very similar towards what we're talking about, polls and surveys and reviews, like it's towards content engagement, but it's more about the product side, right? So as we spoke about, um, New York Times is sorry, when I spoke on the first day, New York Times had a really strong case in terms of bundling because of the fact that they had created games and a lot of that creates leads to then um, get people to subscribe to the offer to their news offering because they were able to um, interact with them on the core interest, which is the national interest issues that were happening at the day for in the United States. Um, so you can do that as well in terms of tapping into audiences' interests through products by gamification or activations. Um, now, again, not advocating for campaign where you can set up campaigns with your partners that can be for United Cause. So there's a lot of examples in their gallery where um, I'll show you the Manchester United one. Manchester. Yeah, for example, even this simple one here, like a sweepstakes. Let's say you had a travel site and you partnered with the tourism board or you partnered with uh, a product key company, and you know that both of your audiences together are uh, very interested in traveling to a particular destination, to a particular activity. You come together and you provide a sweepstakes where, hey, enter your details for the draw for a chance to win this holiday, that amount hiking holiday that is going to include accommodation, $10,000 worth of credit towards purchasing gear, um, and XYZ, right? So you use your platform to get the partner the exposure. They provide you the offer. You then come together and then get the joint results and share data. Obviously, you disclose that to the user that's signing up through the disclosure terms and so forth. But there's a lot of those type of examples that you can do to generate leads and then provide that value to your partner. So this quiz, I mean, quizzes was something we spoke about before. For sports sites, just tipping leaderboards. So getting if you have friends that like to tip like or do fantasy sports that are wanting to compete against each other to then because with gaming and stuff it's more about the competition to and advocacy of supporting your team and the love of the sport. uh the tapping into that core aspect is going to be important to be able to help um gift guides as well. So I think this one again was a quiz from my understanding. So, or even like if there's an event going on, having a message wall where you can, if you're doing a live coverage of a game or an event, then having a message wall where you can have people to comment or respond, so that you can then share that with the particular player or something like that, or to the particular team that you're partnered with this campaign. There's a lot of different tactics that you can use to pretty much do this. Definitely advise you guys to look at content interactive platforms because a lot of them have the templates set up for you to at least get started, or otherwise, if you want someone to help you to do it for you whilst you focus on doing, whilst you're focusing on the day-to-day business, that can also be an option. So, definitely would suggest you to look into that once you have, and particularly if you're trying to mitigate against traffic declines and wanting to focus on brand building, that can be another way to go. So finally, to put this all together, come back to the point of bundling products, where you can determine, like, based on your traffic, based on the data that's coming through, what you can actually offer. Again, this matrix is here to show if whether you have information services, if we are if you're a magazine publisher or a newspaper publisher, what kind of things would be probably the best approach to take in terms of your model. Definitely is it could be, if you're thinking about it more from a digital publisher, a pure digital publisher that's just content only, then I would look at just considering um, more of the elements of newspaper publishing, newspaper publisher offerings and stuff. But I guess overall, the whole product bundling is what's going to help you to get the data that's going to enable you to eventually come to the point where you can just literally tell your partner the very granular aspects that you can help them to help each other to realize the potential. So with that, that sort of concludes my presentation for today on this. I hope that's been useful. I'll pass it over to the attendees for anyone that has any questions, final questions before we wrap up. Okay. It doesn't, sorry, please again, feel free to email me, Vahe at SODPdigitalpublishing.com. If you had any other concerns or questions about this, I mean, maybe I can ask one more question before I leave you, leave you guys for the day. Has besides newsletters, has everyone set up a CDP or a way to collect first-party data? What's your framework in sort of setting up first-party data? Or feel free to add it into the chat. And if you haven't as well, that's okay. Maybe share why that's been the case as well. Feel free to share your experience on that. Okay, well, that's okay. I guess we can. No, you still haven't. Okay, okay, no worries then. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of I hope this session helped. I think again, definitely the first thing is looking at newsletters and starting with the basic stuff and then tracking on your website, and then you can then move towards looking towards a customer data platform or a platform that sort of centralizes the data together. So yeah, that's a fair point, SP. It's never late to start, and I hope you guys can take some inspiration with this uh, call session to get started. So with that, I'll nothing else. You have a newsletter, but it's just it's something. It's definitely something, and that's where you have to get. It's a start to then continue to evolve. So kudos to you to get on getting started. Um, so I think let's wrap up for today and for now. Thanks everyone again for joining. We'll be sending across the key learnings and takeaways white paper. We're gonna also have the videos ready for you guys as well. For early access, in terms of early access before it's launched publicly, so they can watch through each of the sessions, and we'll share the contact details if you want to reach out to any of the speakers or myself as well. And we hope this was valuable. Any feedback on the sessions as well, we greatly appreciate it. And we hope you have a great afternoon. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye bye.